Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be at the UNGA Summit of the Future on Monday, where he will be making a very important address. The big question is, will the Summit of the Future at the United Nations bring a hope of peace? Well, this is the most significant because the summit is being held at a time of conflict, tensions and divisions in the world, and an important aspect which will be at the Summit of the Future is peace and security. If one looks at the remarks by the President of the General Assembly at the opening of the Summit of the Future, Mr. Philemon Yang, on Sunday, he has placed conflict on top of the agenda. He said that our Summit of the Future has given us a pact whose top priority is promoting international peace and security. The summit will ask for action that recommits countries to the principles of international law, the goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, and the promise of the United Nations Charter to save future generations from the pain of war. One of the main areas of attention will be attaining the Sustainable Development Goals and on target and on time, as the world is also playing catch up insofar as the fulfillment of the very important Sustainable Development Goals is concerned. A host of issues could be discussed at the Summit of the Future related to climate, to education, to youth, gender, energy, infrastructure, as well as the digital divide. An outcome document pact for the future is expected to be adopted by the world leaders, and India has been a pioneer when it comes to climate, renewable energy and digital public infrastructure. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address on the occasion could cover India's efforts towards, perhaps working towards a peace between Russia and the Ukraine war, the Israel and the Palestine wars. Also, the Prime Minister could speak about India's record when it comes to working in the field of climate. India is the only country among the Paris Accord which has achieved its climate objectives way ahead of time. Renewable energy is a big success story in India. The Prime Minister could speak about that at the Summit of the Future as the way ahead for future generations, as well as the digital public infrastructure in which India, the UPI, has been a big platform. India's message at this summit is also likely to focus on the country's opposition to war as a means of settling political divisions and the discords, and the need for diplomacy and dialogue to settle such issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent travels to Russia and Ukraine have been aimed in this direction. The big question hence remains that will India play the peacemaker when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine or the Israel-Palestine war? A guiding question for the interactive dialogues at the Summit of the Future revolves around the heightened global divisions. The Pact for the Future, which has just been adopted, represents the pledge not only to address immediate crises, but lay the foundations for a sustainable, just and peaceful global order. This is at the top of the agenda of the Summit of the Future. For all people and nations, there should be a peaceful, global, international, rules-based order. A future where peace transcends the mere absence of conflict and is grounded in the justice, inclusion and equality. This is the agenda of the Summit of the Future, a keenly awaited address by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Summit of the Future at the UNGA, when he'll be speaking, and there'll be a discussion on how to achieve these objectives of a world free of war and a world full of peace.